There he is.
All right.
Under
Sorry,
60.
but that Zoom had forged an update.
Make you do an update? Yeah, it does that to me. The thing is I don't see much change. Since the big change when they added the whiteboard and like post-it notes and things like that, like I don't see much change. But anyway. We are under
Lynn said that you have until Saturday. If there's something wrong with the chair, that we could, that we have to bring it back. What?
There is nothing wrong with the chair.
Okay.
The desk might be something different, but there's nothing wrong with the chair.
Well, we didn't buy the desk, so we can't do anything with the desk.
The desk is is entirely on me. Under 60 seconds. Okay, we're up. We're up. And play. And play. And play.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
and young enough to do.
Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view. Well, it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you. It's strictly up to you. And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair?
We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Welcome from my humble second bedroom. George just picked his head up like, you gonna start this thing, or brain cramp, stroke, whatever. It could be a stroke, whatever's happening. Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, at least for now. North American continent, Western Hemisphere. There's Daisy the dog. Somebody must be having the audacity to walk past our house. She doesn't like when anybody walks past the house. Unless she's outside, then she checks them out. So she's just having a go. It is what it is. I'll tell you what. I wish... Well, I'll get into it in a second here. But it's... it's a thing. The vibrating cushion on my new chair is working brilliantly this evening. That's why I'm smiling a bit more than normal. I'm quite happy. Holy crap, he's happy! Turn the show off. It's going to be a terrible one. It's going to be awful. We like it better when he's angry and pissed off and sad and unhealthy. No, it's feeling pretty good. Anyway, from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, part of these United States, North American continent, Western Hemisphere, on this planet Earth, the only one we have. Third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is TKE Tonight, the Kennedy Effect Tonight, live with you for the 29th of May, 2025. And I remembered what year it was. We are live right now on the Facebook pages of Ghost Club Productions Radio, the TCP Media Group, Our Revolution Pennsylvania, and of course did I said hot101.net? Yes, I did. Our Revolution Pennsylvania, TCP Media Group, and Ghost Club Productions. We are of course, are live on our home group Facebook page for all things that surround our program, That Other Side of Information. That, THAT, Other Side of Information, is our home Facebook group. Really, really, really want to get to 1,500 members by my birthday, which is the first day of summer. So I very much hope that you will encourage, invite, whatever it is that you have to do to bring people to the group. We really want to get to 1,500 by the first day of summer. We are live on not just we are live on not just one YouTube channel, but two, because my ego's not big enough to do just one. I have to do two of them. Ghost Claw Productions YouTube channel, GCPR.live YouTube channel, the Ghost Claw Productions Radio YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search Ghost Claw, it'll pop up. There's not a lot of Ghost Claws out there, so if you just go to YouTube and type in Ghost Claw Productions or Ghost Claw Productions Radio or GCPR, you will find us on YouTube. Already at the GCPR YouTube, I think we have, I'm trying to see, over 12,000 subscribers, and you could be one of them. You could be a super subscriber. If you go to the YouTube for GCPR, you will find out how you can do that. We encourage you to do so. Also live on the YouTube channel for our YouTube channel, which existed before GCPR, but is hopelessly behind in subscribers. That, of course, is That Other Side of Information. We are live there as well. The audio of the program blasts around the globe via two radio internet giants, hot101.net. If you can connect to the internet, you can listen to hot101.net, period. Doesn't matter what type of device you have. If it can connect, you can listen. It's that simple, hot101.net. And most importantly, of course, it's free. It is completely and 100% free. Free, always the best price for anything. Free. You can listen to hot101.net completely for free through our main website, Apple App Store for Apple devices, Google Play Store for Android, and the TuneIn radio app, and you can tell Alexa to play hot101.net as well. GCPR.live, that's our website. Find out everything you want to know about the radio station that I own half of. GCPR.live, GCPR.live. You can find out everything you've ever wanted to know there about us. You can listen to us there as well, again, completely for free. We have a fully functional Android app with an Apple app along the way soon. Following us on hot101.net, the music returns to you. Following us on GCPR.live, you got a little bit of a break. T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning to wrap up your broadcast work week with Flag on the Play Friday. I am Jeff Kennedy. George is here with me for a Thursday evening. And what turned out to be actually quite a lovely evening here in the Lehigh Valley. It rained for the first half of the day. The sun tried to peek out a little bit. Then the clouds came back. And that happened about 3 or 4 different times. And not only did the clouds come back, it looked like it was going to storm properly. The wind kicked up. It got dark. And it never quite did it. And now we have some blue skies. I think they're blue skies. Maybe clouded, sort of blue skies. It actually got kind of warm. The AC kicked on here in the house today. And it's actually turned out to be quite a lovely day. Hopefully it will be a good Friday. No pun intended. And it will be a great weekend. George got that pun. I saw him smile. He got it. There's really 2 topics that I wanted to talk about tonight, or at least I will try to talk about. Something happened to me on the show on Tuesday that really hasn't happened in a very long time. I don't know if it's my health. I don't know if it's that it's become increasingly difficult to breathe, believe it or not. And I did get some notes from the doctor on why my breathing is so bad. I'm not going to share them all with you here because there is, still a little bit of privacy here that I try to maintain. I try to tell you a lot about me because I'm not special. I'm not smarter than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not more advanced. I'm not a higher form of being. I'm not I'm not anything other than a regular, normal guy trying to do something that he really, really loves to do, and trying to do it for a living instead of what I have to do for a living. But I really did struggle through the show on Tuesday because I realized I didn't have a hell of a lot to say. And that's not very good on radio. That doesn't really help. That's not really what the function of radio is. Now, for those of you who are watching on the streaming programs, I could get up and do a little dance and make all sorts of motions and gestures and things like that. It'll give you something to look at. On the radio, it's strictly listening. And I realized I didn't have a hell of a lot to say. I really struggled through the program on Tuesday. And I fear I'm going to struggle through it tonight, but I hope that you, of course, will chip in with your comments and your questions, and you can drive the program. You can be in the driver's seat. You can determine what it is that we talk about. Now, I did put a couple of topics on the various social media posts for some things to talk about. Mike Jackson asking if I'm going to do the Pee-wee dance. You don't want to see that any more than you want to see me do the Elaine. Does everybody know what I mean by the Elaine? Everybody, you know what I mean. Georgia knows what I mean by doing the Elaine. You don't want to see me do the Pee-wee dance. You don't want to see me do the Elaine either. You don't want to see me do the floss or the... you definitely don't want to see me twerk, if I even know how. But what it means is it's important that you become part of the program. I never ever wanted this program to be a lecture, because to be honest with you, I'm not that smart. I just wanted all of you to be part of the program along with us, and this to be a collective experience. So we strongly encourage your comments, your questions. You can drive the program. Mike asked if I'm upset that the word taco has been sort of usurped. Not for what I believe it now stands for. I'm not upset at all, because it actually happens to be true. I've seen on social media that taco is now short for Trump always chickens out. And not only is that true, I think it's kind of funny, kind of clever. Unless it means something else to Mike or to the rest of you that I don't know anything about, that Wall Street has ruined it, I honestly don't know. I don't know if they could. Maybe they're trying to usurp the Trump always chickens out part of it. I honestly don't know. Maybe there's an excellent possibility that I have not seen what you have seen. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's quite clever. And, we have MAGA. Why not have taco? We got MAGA on the right. Oh, Taco Tuesday will be forever different. Well, yeah, maybe. Maybe. We can still enjoy a tasty, good fish taco or carnitas taco, or if you're into a little more of a plain sort of thing, and just good old beef or chicken, ground beef or whatever, we can still enjoy a good taco and still have a good giggle about Trump always chickens out, seems to me. It's a big world. I think we're smart people. I think we can do both. And I'll bet you, if there was a way that Taco Bell and these other sort of taco joints could think of a way to capitalize on this, and I mean monetarily capitalize on it, you can bloody well be sure that they would. Even if it pissed off some of the Trump, even if it does piss off some of the Trump base, I think they'd still monetize it if they could. I told you I was going to tell you about Daisy very quick. Daisy is 3 years old. She's been with us now for about 2.5 years. She was about 6 months when we adopted her. She is an integral part of this family. We are close. We love her terribly. She is extremely loyal. She can be really, really funny. She does funny and silly things. Anyone that sees her says she is a strikingly good-looking dog. I don't know about that. I think she's a cutie. But as far as strikingly good-looking from a breeding, I guess, point of view, I don't know much about that, to be honest with you. I just think it's, dogs they're loyal, they're fun, they are fierce, they are, but anyway, you've heard her bark on this program before. She does tend to stress herself out by sitting in front of the window and just waiting for something to happen. She barks at anybody in a uniform except police officers, and I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but she barks at everybody except police officers. The UPS guys, the FedEx guys, the Amazon guys, no quarter for them. Then when neighbors walk by, she barks at them, but if she sees them outside, then it's okay. She's fiercely protects the house. And that's probably why you've heard her bark before, because she fiercely protects. George knows, because George has visited here, and he's just tried to walk through the room, and she's been, to keep a real... but then everybody should keep a very close eye with George. I'm just going to be honest with you. Say something, you wuss. Take the mute off and say something.
I was going to help you with the Daredevil jacket, but now...
I thought you were going to say I was going to help me with the desk. No, not anymore. Anyway.
Cancel. Let me cancel that Amazon. Let me cancel that Amazon delivery.
Wait. How many? Wait, what was I going to help you? How many Daredevil jackets was I going to get you? Oh, now I can tell you it's 0.0. But I feel bad for Daisy sometimes because she just stresses herself out sitting in front of the window just waiting for something to bark. I think her loyalty and her want to protect the house has become so great that she really does just kind of stand there and wait for something to bark at. And I feel bad. I wish she didn't do that. I wish she was a little more relaxed and a little happier than that. But I can tell you she scared some people away from this house. Some people that you would want to be scared away from this house. So if you ever do hear her barking, that's pretty much what it is. But she's family, so we deal. And, she definitely knows that she's part of this family, and I think she feels that she's part of this family, and I think she protects us because she knows she's part of this family. I came up with 2 topics that I really wanted to try to talk about tonight. And I wasn't really planning on reading any articles necessarily. I wasn't going to read at you or read to you, so to speak, unless I can find one of the articles that I'm looking for. Because it's been a bit of a schizophrenic day, and what I wanted to try to talk about, and I literally mean try, is do we trust the court system? Do we trust the judicial branch, the third branch of the third co-equal branch? Do we trust that branch to be a guardrail against the ever deepening fascism that we have seen come over the country? Do we trust them for that? I ask that today because there's been a bit of a mix in court decisions that have come out. A federal judge originally blocked Trump's new tariffs against the EU of 50%, and there was someone else in there he was trying to hit with a 50%. It was the EU and someone, and I can't remember who the other one was. Then another federal court said, no, you can implement them, but I'm going to give you 11 days to justify why and how you believe you can implement these. The first court said that the president alone does not have the authority to implement tariffs. There is a wartime law that allows the president to implement them in times of national emergency. This judge particularly thought that we were not in a national emergency to justify that move. I don't happen to think that we're in one either. I think if Trump, I've told you before in this program that I don't think tariffs are an entirely bad thing. I think the way that Trump is trying to implement them, or trying to establish them, trying to make them return them to a regular course of action here in this country, is dead wrong. It's scattershot. It's buckshot, really. It's not targeted. It's not really fostering the development of any type of individual or collective industry in this country. You can't protect an industry that doesn't exist. Tariffs are protective by nature, going back to when Alexander Hamilton first proposed them to George Washington. They are protective in nature. They foster, that when implemented correctly, they can and should foster the development of domestic industry. The way Trump has been doing it is anything but that. He seems to use them in a pro-Russian Soviet sort of way, seems to be using them in a punitive sort of way, with little justification or explanation. And I thought it was interesting that in the last couple days, the courts have flip-flopped on this very issue. One federal court saying he doesn't have the power to implement these solely on his own. Another court saying, yeah, you can, but you really do need to better justify how you're doing this. We have courts, we have the Supreme Court, who has basically allowed the expulsion of immigrants from this country without due process. And then another court earlier today extends the block of the Trump administration's ban of foreign students at Harvard. You had the Supreme Court, not just in the Dobbs or Citizens United decisions that have completely fundamentally led to the end of democracy in this country, but who gave this president a basically blanket immunity to do anything criminal while he was in the White House, and boy, hasn't he taken advantage of that. And at the same time saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, and then he just ignores them. Various Trump regime officials have talked about how the left, the radical left, like the ACLU, like we're some sort of ghost or something, will judge shop, and they will only bring cases in friendly districts. Trump regime is doing, of course, exactly the same thing. They're going to judges that they appointed, hoping for favorable judgments, sometimes getting them, sometimes not. Do you trust the judicial branch, third among equals? Do you trust the United States judicial branch to be the guardrail against against the ever-deepening fascism that we're seeing in this country? To that point, let me read you, as I'm trying to watch the clock here, let me read you this particular article from the Associated Press. This is from earlier today. Headline: Federal judge extends order blocking Trump administration ban on foreign students at Harvard. Of all the places he decided to pick a fight, Harvard. I can't tell you I'm a Harvard guy. Ted Cruz is a Harvard guy. He's been terribly quiet during this, hasn't he? Now, I would say to George, if he's monitoring the YouTube channel, a very interesting thing is happening on the YouTube channel right now, sir. That is, we have gone split screen with an advert. Not one that we've paid for, not one that is paying us, but somebody must be watching, because they put a local car dealer ad and a split screen next to us right in the middle of the program. That's pretty interesting SH stuff. That's pretty interesting stuff. We must be popular. Donna and Randall both saying that they trust the judicial branch. I don't either. But they have pretty much been the only bulwark so far against some of these. Look, the last reporting that I had seen from Tom Hartman and from some other outlets is that two-thirds of Project 2025 has already been implemented. The remaining third are constitutional changes. They may take a little bit longer. But the end of the Department of Education, the end of these various government departments, two-thirds of Project 2025 has already been implemented. The courts have ruled against some of it, but have not been able to stop it because they don't have an enforcement mechanism. So do you trust the judicial branch to be the last guardrail? Congress has abdicated basically all of its authority to the executive. The executive is now a tyrant. He is a dictator. He is an oligarch. He has embraced fascism. He is fostering fascism around the world. Do you trust the judges? Do you trust the courts? Or am I wrong that they are not the last line of defense? That perhaps there are other defensive lines out there that I'm not considering? You can tell me that too, because it's very possible that I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot. Are the grassroots progressive groups a defensive line? Is the Democratic Party a defensive line? Are elections still a defensive line? Mike mentions that he told us that there was going to be a split between Trump and Musk. At least publicly that has happened, yes. Musk was around just long enough to award himself a bunch of billions and billions in new government contracts and then walked away. They actually spent $50 billion more during Musk's time in Washington than they had during the same time during the Biden administration. Anyway, let me read from this article, Dateline Boston. A federal judge on Thursday, today, extended an order blocking the Trump administration's attempt to bar Harvard University from enrolling foreign students. U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs extended the block she imposed last week with a temporary restraining order, which allows the Ivy League school to continue enrolling international students as the lawsuit proceeds. Harvard sued the federal government on Friday after the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, revoked its ability to host foreign students at its campus in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Quote, Harvard will continue to take steps to protect the rights of our international students and scholars, members of our community who are vital to the university's academic mission and community and whose presence here benefits our country immeasurably, a university spokesman read in a statement. On Wednesday, the Trump administration introduced a new effort to revoke Harvard's certification to enroll foreign students. In a letter sent by Acting Immigration and Customs Enforcement Director Todd Lyons, the government gave Harvard 30 days to respond to the alleged grounds for withdrawal, which include accusations that Harvard coordinated with foreign entities and failed to respond sufficiently to anti-Semitism on campus. Notice something that's very similar from this second Trump regime to the first. A lot of acting people who were never vetted by Congress, who were never voted on by the Senate, who never had advice and consent of the Senate. A lot of acting people, because he doesn't want to put them up in front of a vote. Although, if I was the Trump regime, I'd be pretty confident that a Republican Senate would pass almost anybody that they put in front of them if Kash Patel can get confirmed. If Kristi Noem can get confirmed. If Robert F. Kennedy Jr. can get confirmed. Basically, any fracking person can get confirmed. So I'm not sure why there's still so many acting. Back to the article. The developments unfolded in a courtroom not far from the Harvard campus, where speakers at Thursday's commencement ceremony stressed the importance of maintaining a diverse and international student body. The dispute over international enrollment at Harvard is the latest escalation in a battle between the White House and the nation's oldest and wealthiest college. In April, Noam sent a letter to the school demanding a range of records relating to foreign students, including discipline records and anything related to, quote, dangerous or violent activities. Noam said it was in response to accusations of anti-Semitism on Harvard's campus. Harvard said it complied, but on May 22nd, Noam sent a letter to the school that the response fell short. She said Harvard was being pulled from the federal program that allows colleges to sponsor international students to get U.S. visas. It took effect immediately and prevented Harvard from hosting foreign students in the upcoming year. In its lawsuit, Harvard argued that the government failed to follow administrative procedures and regulations for removing schools from the eligibility to host international students, which included giving schools the opportunity to appeal and a 30-day window to respond. This is actually another thing, by the way, that pays for itself. The old GI Bill, for every dollar that was spent on the GI Bill, about $14 came back into the economy. Student loans return more money into the economy than they cost. Foreign students return more money into the economy than they cost. And while it would appear that Noam and the Department of Homeland Security wanted all of Harvard's records on all of its foreign students, I think we know which ones they were really looking for. They're looking for students of Middle Eastern descent, Muslims, in their supposed war on anti-Semitism. This is what fascist nations do. This is what fascism looks like. Xenophobia, condemnation of the other, whomever that other is, and however convenient that other is. Whether it's Muslims, trans people, the LGBTQ community, blacks, brown, Asian, women, poorly educated white men, however many small groups they can dissect us into. That's the other. Because there's always an other to scare the other others. Straight white men don't know how to deal with trans people. Women don't want men telling them what to do with their bodies. White folks are told to be afraid of black folks moving out of the city and coming into their suburbs. Straight people are told to be scared of queer people. Young, be afraid of the old. Old, be really afraid of the young. We get sliced and diced and dissected and broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller parts until we become nothing much more than ourselves, individuals. There's nothing wrong with individuality. Individuality is a strength. Individuality is it's a strength. It builds it takes a group of individuals to build a society. But we're also told that, hey, welcome, John. Welcome. Great to see John here in the chat. Don't see enough of you, mate. It is a group of individuals that make a society. You can have a coherent society. You can have a community. You can have a nation. You can have one planet. And still have plenty of room for individuality. I'm not covered in head to toe with tattoos. We see others who have them all over their face. Not my style. But I am no less concerned with the well-being of my brothers and sisters who might be coded literally from head to toe. Their successes are my successes. They are society's successes. I happen to have my ears pierced. Plenty of other men think that's not their style. Okay. George is much taller than I am. I happen to know other folks who are shorter than me. We're individuals in that way. I have friends who are every type of everything across the spectrum you could possibly think of in gender identity. Their successes are my successes. My successes should be theirs. I do not lose something when they gain something. They do not lose something when I gain something. A rising tide lifts all boats. John, you're going to have to tell me what you mean by that comment, my friend. John says in the Facebook chat, I'm trying to get this SOB out and turn the entire Congress over. That would sound very straightforward. I just didn't know if you were talking about anybody in particular. I mean, outside of Trump, I should imagine. And Congress, I didn't know if you're speaking about any particular member of Congress or members, plural, of Congress. Please feel free to explain anything about that you want to. One of the greatest lies of the Reagan era is that we are not a community, that we are not a society, but rather that we are simply a group of rugged individuals, and that whatever successes we have are made purely on our own merit and our own hard work, pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. And that if somebody else should happen to succeed, even if they do by pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, they've taken something from me. It is the single greatest lie of the Reagan era. Trickle-down economics is a pretty big, staggeringly large lie. But it would seem to me that beyond that, because that one is actually quite self-explanatory, all of the data shows that trickle-down is fake, it's a lie, it doesn't work, it never has, from the Roman Empire forward. But this greater lie, it would seem to me, is that we are all individuals, that we are not a community, that we are not a society, and that if George succeeds, it must take something from me. That if I should succeed, it must take something from George. That if I succeed, somehow Donna and Mike and Randall and John somehow lose something, when the truth is they gain. And when they succeed, I gain, George gains. It's society. It's community. It's societies and communities that form government, that collect taxes and pay for things that we cannot do for ourselves, like schools and police, trash collection, airports, roads. I could keep going on and on and on. You know the list. You know what the list of the commons is. Don't feed into the lie. Don't let the lie take you. Please don't feed in to the lie. Yes, we are individuals. There is room for individuality within a coherent and peaceful society. both things can exist. In fact, both things should exist. I think a society is a little healthier when it has a good dash of spice of individuality thrown on top of it. But both things can coexist. 8:40 p.m. We're 2/3 of the way through the program. We're going to struggle to get through this last third. 8:40 p.m. You are listening and watching to The Kennedy Effect, TKE, tonight for the 29th of May. It seems literally like only a few minutes ago that I was sitting here with you at the beginning of May saying, holy crap, it's May already. Well, we're almost halfway through 2025. We are flying through it. The 29th of May, 2025, as darkness falls across the Lehigh Valley on what has turned out to be a really quite lovely night. You are watching us live on the Facebook pages of Our Revolution Pennsylvania, Hot101.net, the TCP Media Group, and of course, Ghost Claw Productions. We are live on our home group Facebook page for all things surrounding the program, That Other Side of Information. Please, I'm asking you to invite people to our Facebook group. I would like to get to 1,500 by the first day of summer, June 21st. 1,500 by the 21st. You can help make that happen by inviting friends, family, people who you think really need to hear some truth, maybe, to our Facebook group, That Other Side of Information. That Other Side of Information is also the name of our YouTube channel. We are live there right now, as well as the YouTube channel for Ghost Claw Productions Radio. The audio of the program, of course, blasts out around the globe via two global radio internet giants. One of the very first, hot101.net. Our name is our web address. If you can connect to the internet, you can listen to hot101.net on any type of device, and you can listen 100% for free. Hot101.net, hot101.net, hot101.net. Our name is our web address. You can listen on desktops and laptops and tablets and phones. You can Bluetooth it to headphones and earbuds and speakers and inside your car. You can also tell Alexa to play hot101.net, and it is completely for free. Hot101.net, gcpr.live, Ghost Claw Productions Radio.live, gcpr.live. Any search engine will bring you to us. You can listen to us completely for free through our website. We also have a fully functional Android app with an Apple app along the way, or at least I think the Apple app is still under construction. I'm thinking, yes, maybe it is. Thank you so much. I thought so. Nice that I know something a little bit about the station I own half of. Nice that I know a couple little pieces of information. George knows way, way more about quote-unquote my station than I do. First off, it is not my station. Everyone that works on the station has a show on the station, has a stake in the station, but as a 50% co-owner with Thomas, the quote-unquote my station, George knows a hell of a lot more about what the hell is going on at the station than I do. That's for sure. The joy of retirement. I hope I shall have the ability someday. I'm not counting on it, but it'd be nice.
It's like the movie The Untouchables, like with Sean Connery. Like,
what are you willing to do?
No. If you want it, if you want to keep a secret, don't tell the boss.
Yeah, there you go. That's okay. I'll take that. That sounds about right. Following us on hot101.net, the music returns. On gcpr.live, you got about a 2-hour break. Conversations with T. Nathan from 11. I am right. There's no one on after us, I don't think, on Thursdays. Conversation with T. Nathan from 11. Thomas returns tomorrow morning from 8 a.m. with the sound of coffee, flag on the play Friday, wrapping up your broadcast work week. I actually found another article that I wanted to get into because I think it just goes to show you the backwardness of this regime. It also is yet another example of what fascism looks like. When the fossil fuel industries buy Congress and buy the White House, this is what they get for their investment. Headline, and this is from the Associated Press, written by Alexa St. John and Isabella O'Malley. 2 names I could actually pronounce without butchering. How wonderful. Alexa St. John and Isabella O'Malley. $14 billion, billion with a B, dollars in clean energy projects have been canceled in the U.S. this year, analysts say. More than $14 billion in clean energy investments in the United States have been canceled or delayed this year, according to an analysis released Thursday, as President Donald Trump's pending mega bill has raised fears over the future of domestic battery, electric vehicle, solar, and wind energy development. Many companies are concerned that the investments will be in jeopardy amid House Republicans' passage of a tax bill that would gut clean energy credits. The nonpartisan group E2 said in its analysis of projects that it and consultancy Atlas Public Policy tracked. The group estimates the losses since January have also cost 10,000 new clean energy jobs. Let me just repeat that for you. This is what fascism looks like. The fossil fuel industry spent millions of dollars helping to elect Trump and Republicans in the House and Senate because they want clean energy gutted. They want you to burn fossil fuels until such a point that this planet itself becomes one giant fossil fuel cell and burns. How these oil executives think that they're going to be able to breathe any better than the rest of us, that they're not going to burn with the rest of us, unless there is an Elysium style, George knows what movie I'm talking about, unless there is an Elysium style space station up there that none of us know about, they're all going to burn with the rest of us. They don't seem to be worried about that. They just want to burn and drill and dig and scar the landscape for coal and frack it for natural gas and drill for oil and burn and burn and burn until this planet becomes quite literally uninhabitable. So not only has $14 billion in investment in this country gone away, so have 10,000 jobs. And I wonder how many of those 10,000 people voted for Trump. Because some of them certainly did. I wish there was a way to know. Donna in the chat says it's all about the money. It always is. In a capitalist country, it always is. Except I'm not even so sure that we're capitalist at this point. Fascism is not just a governmental system, if you will. It's an economic system. Maybe more accurately, to be fair, perhaps more accurately, fascism would be the governmental system. Oligarchy would be the economic system. I don't think I'm terribly wrong with that. Donna says they're all too stupid to realize that they can't take it with them. Again, Donna, unless they have a space station up there that I'm not aware of, or massive underground cities that we're not aware of, no, they can't take it with them. That was always one of the things that fascinated me about the Koch brothers. Only one of which is still alive. The other died of cancer. And if I'm not mistaken, it might have been lung cancer, but I'm not confident in that at all. Koch brothers are not just fossil fuel giants. They also own Georgia Pacific, which is the largest paper product maker on the planet. So not only did they drill baby drill and dig and frack and blow off mountaintops and all of these different things, they were huge in lumber and forestry to make paper and paper products. And I always wondered how two very, very smart men, which they clearly are, They took the Coke businesses from small family-run businesses to one of the global giants. They're worth billions and billions of dollars. And I always wondered how they couldn't be smart enough to realize that they're going to choke to death on this planet like the rest of us when they finally set it aflame. Some would argue it's already been set aflame. Just look at the wildfires around the world. But I always wondered how two men so smart couldn't figure that out, that they're going to burn and choke to death with the rest of us. But they haven't, apparently. So let me just kind of repeat this before I get back to the article. $14 billion in investments here in this country gone. And 10,000 jobs. And that's only the start. That's only what they've calculated so far. Let me get back to the article. The tax credits, bolstered in the landmark climate bill passed under former President Joe Biden in 2022, are crucial for boosting renewable technologies key to the clean energy transition. E2 estimates that $132 billion in plans have been announced since the so-called Inflation Reduction Act passed. The so-called, it was called that, not counting the cancellations. Last week's House bill effectively renders moot many of the law's incentives. Advocacy groups decried the potential impact that it could have on the industry after the multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks passed. Quote, the House's plan, coupled with the administration's focus on stomping out clean energy and returning us to a country powered by coal and gas guzzlers, is causing businesses to cancel plans, delay their plans, and take their money and jobs to other countries instead, unquote. E2 Executive Director Bob Keefe said. The Senate is now reviewing the bill with an informal July 4 deadline to get it to the president's desk. What has been canceled? Well, some of the most recent cancellations include the Core Power battery factory in Arizona, Borg Warner's closure of 2 electric vehicle manufacturing sites in Michigan, Bosch suspended a $200 million investment in the hydrogen fuel cell factory in South Carolina. Red state, you fools. You cost yourselves $200 million in investments in just one plant in one state. Citing changes within the market over the past year in a statement to the Associated Press. Tariffs, inflationary pressures, nascent company struggles, and low adoption rates for some technologies may also have been reasons for these companies' plans changing. Here's the tariffs again, stifling economic development. For instance, the battery storage and electric vehicle sectors have seen the most impact in 2025, with the latter, electric vehicle, having had a difficult past few years. Several projects spurred by the Inflation Reduction Act were also canceled prior to 2025 because they knew what was coming. I'd like to assign you all a little bit of homework, because I assume that most of you, if not all of you, will be back with us on our Sunday program, which might get cut down to an hour the more I'm thinking about it, at least temporarily, or at least through the summer, perhaps go down to an hour. But I'd like to assign you all some homework. The second topic that I really wanted to talk about tonight that we're not going to get to, but I'm going to ask you the question: what is the end game of Project 2025? What is the end game of fascist control of this country? What is it? What are the oligarchs the billionaires, the morbidly rich. What is the end game? Do they want all the poor people dead? Do they want a war? Do they want all the money to such a point where you literally have none? Do they want the return of the quote-unquote company town, where you work for the company, live in company housing, shop at the company store, go to the company school, learn what the company wants you to learn in the company school, and only what the company wants you to learn? You earn a paycheck, but you give it all back to the company in expenses. Rent, heat, water, schooling, grocery. Do they want to see the United States become medieval Europe during the Dark Ages? What do they want? What is the end game? What does the United States look like when Project 2025 is fully implemented? What is the end game? Is it Russia? That the United States looks like Russia? Or that it looks like the Soviet Union? Or, again, medieval Europe during the Dark Ages? A tiny handful of landed gentry ruling over millions of illiterate peasants. Are we to become the peasantry? I want you to think about these questions, please, and have answers for the Sunday program. We are scheduled to be back with you Sunday from 6 p.m. Eastern Time here at hot101.net, gcpr.live, and our various streaming platforms. That is your homework for Sunday. No one has put a comment in the comment section about being given homework. I expected some pithy, funny comments, but I'm not getting any. I expected some sarcasm, but I didn't get any. But you have homework. Randall says the endgame of Project 25 is a throwback to absolute feudalism. Okay, I can accept that answer. I happen to actually agree with you for the most part, but what does that look like? What is the point? What is the point of being morbidly rich and owning these various companies, producing these various products that no one can afford because you've taken all the money? No wonder Tesla is Mike Jackson says in the comments something Al Gore would do: give civics homework. I'll take that. That's a good comparison. How different this country would have been had the Supreme Court not handed an election to George W. Bush. Another topic for another day. Maybe we should start a whole different show on that, George. Wouldn't that be funny? Alternate history.
Oh, yeah.
Just start a whole new show of alternate history. Anyway, we're down to our final minute. You have any last thoughts you'd like to add in there, sir? Or any topics that you wanted to bring up?
No. I just want to know if there was a timer on the lumbar support pillow, that's all.
Apparently not. I've had it on since before we went live.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
It's doing much better. I think the key is that I can't lean against it too hard.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That I almost end up absorbing